In case you're wondering, what is the most difficult part about recording this podcast? And for me, it's to start the podcast. This is now my fourth attempt at starting. So before I go any further, yes, I acknowledge that last episode wasn't pleasant. And why did I do it? I just thought, it's difficult. If you're going to do a podcast, and me being Jewish myself, how can you avoid the whole Hamas, Gaza, Israel situation? And I know, I butchered it. It was a bit of a mess. I acknowledge that. But having said that, I stuck to the genre of a mess. It is a mess. They haven't found a solution. They don't know nobody knows who's right, who's wrong. They don't know the left from the right. So my mess, my matzah pudding that I made of the whole situation yesterday is probably in keeping with the exact scenario. Look, that's a story I'm sticking with. Look, I'm doing the best I can. I've got to admit, we're on a low budget. You see the new background? You like the new background? And the lighting has improved. I acknowledge the lighting was bad, but this is good background. You know what the background is? This is the low budget I'm on. It's a picnic blanket or a blanket that I got from the South African Blood Transfusion Service. So you go when you donate blood every 8 weeks, which I try and do. Last time they gave me a cooler bag. This blanket I got a few years ago, and doing the trick. I like it. It's tricky when you wear a black t-shirt with a black background, so hence a bit of the white. So you don't just see a floating head. Floating head syndrome. FHS, floating head syndrome. You don't want that. I've seen it. I've seen it. It's not pretty. I was once watching CNN, and the presenter had a blue top, and there was a blue background, and her face was floating. It wasn't pleasant. Okay, it's nice to get a bit of feedback. I haven't done this for a while, so it's nice to get a bit of feedback. The one person commented, "Look how thin you've lost a lot of weight. You're thin, Damon." And I didn't want to make a thing of it. I know I've lost 17 kilograms. I don't want to be one of those smug, thin people. Well, I'm not smug, thinner people. I mean, I'm still fat. I'm still 17 kilograms. I've got to lose another 17. But I don't want to be one of those people who tell you how to lose weight and they think they're inspirational. But you know what? They think they're trying to educate. They think they're trying to help. I don't want to be one of those people. Because you know what? It doesn't come across that way. These people that are all ripped and fit and they're telling you how to do it, it's actually patronizing. It's annoying. You come across as egotistical. You come across as like you're showing off. That's hard. Maybe you don't mean to do it. So I'm scared to go into it. I don't want to go into it too much. So I'll go into it a little bit. This is not a health show. This is not a weight loss show. But I'll give you a little bit of inspiration, and I'll try not to sound all high and mighty, sitting on my thin ivory tower. Thinner. Let's emphasize that. So I started in July of 2023. Just no carbs, no bread, no sugar, no chocolate, no cold drinks, no rice, no potato, no pasta. When I say no, I mean strictly, religiously. I'm shomrei, no carbs, shomrei, no sugar. I admit, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I dabbled a little bit. My wife Bernice gave me a tiny little bit of Aero chocolate last night, but I didn't want more, which is a huge change. Before, if you gave me a little bit of chocolate, it's like a shark. You drop blood in the water, and the great white they don't want just a drop of blood. They want more. That's how I am. That's how I was with chocolate. So I've turned a corner. I can, sometimes when I'm making rice for the family, I'll taste the rice to see that it's ready. So I'm still cooking. But look, what it does is, well, it's not easy. It is so difficult to lose weight, especially when you're so fat. It's so difficult. You can stick to your plan, and 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, you stand on the scale and you lose nothing. I don't understand. How can you stick to the Spartan, I am Spartacus, like Kirk Douglas? How can you stick to the Spartan diet and after a month you've lost no weight? Look, I'm not a physiologist, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not an expert, but I think it's got something to do, I don't know, you're losing, I don't know, it's the water, something's going on. Where you're losing something, but you still weigh the same. I can't remember. Somebody once explained it to me. Anyway, it's very, what's the word I'm looking for? Discouraging. It's really difficult. So the first 4 or 5 kilograms that I lost took forever. And then slowly, you start losing more. And I haven't been doing any exercise, hardly any exercise whatsoever. Because I got this ulcer on my big toe, on my right toe, so I haven't been able to run. Whole drama. So anyway, that's the story. And then what eventually happens is your appetite goes down. Because when your blood glucose levels are normalized, it regulates the physiology of the hunger sensation in your body. So you're less hungry, you want to eat less. Yes, you want to ask me. Okay, I'll answer. What have you eaten today, Damon? Let me tell you what I've eaten. And I don't want to be smug. But this is the truth. I've got to be honest. This is what I've eaten today. This morning, slowly I sat at the table, had not 1 cup of tea, not 3 cups of tea. And while I did that, I sliced some cheddar cheese. I must have had, didn't count, probably 8 slices of cheddar cheese. I know that sounds excessive, but that I haven't eaten any. I didn't eat anything. I didn't eat anything else for the rest of the day. Oh, excuse me. And then this evening, at about 8:30, 8:45 in the evening, I had cooked some butternut in the air fryer. Yeah, we got an air fryer. We slow adapters. We only got the air fryer a couple of months ago. I was worried, are we going to not use it? Is the air fryer going to just land up on the top of the cupboard? But you know what? We've been using it. The air fryer has been used. What a relief. Because so often we bought the George Foreman thing, that George Foreman that never used it. Slow cooker, we went through the slow cooker thing and we went mad about the slow cooker. That slow cooker isn't. Slow cooker is all lonely, doesn't know what to do with itself. We got a griller. We got a griller from somebody gave us their old griller. It's sitting on top of the cupboard. SodaStream, the SodaStream we use, SodaStream. That we get good mileage out of the SodaStream, I must say. I don't touch it because it's all sugary stuff. The rest of the family, they do their SodaStream. Anyway, where was I? Air fryer. So I had some butternut that I cooked last night in the air fryer. I must have had about 5 little pieces of butternut. That's all I've eaten today. That's all I've eaten. And it's already 9:10 in the evening. Let me just put my phone on airplane mode because I know I'm not flying, but the phone, this is irritating about Apple. I've got this is an iMac and I've got an iPhone. Phone starts ringing, the iMac starts ringing as well while I'm trying to record a show. So annoying. So I'll just put the phone on airplane mode. That's all I've eaten today. Look, I hope I didn't come across as thinner, smug. Or is it smug? Smug, thinner. I hope I didn't do it. Okay, it's nice to do a bit of... I mentioned the feedback. Yeah, that was the feedback about me looking thinner. Thank you very much. Funnily enough, that was Gerald. Remember Gerald? Gerald was our diabetic listener who we were monitoring his health. Yeah, that was Gerald. He said, hey, Damon, you look like much thinner. I asked Gerald, in case you're curious about Gerald, he says his diabetes is under control. I'm going to just take his word for it. I said, what medication are you on? He says the metformin. Then I mentioned my medications. Then with the one medication I mentioned, he said, oh, I'm also on that. So I'm a bit suspicious. Gerald, why? You mentioned the metformin, but you didn't mention the Duxo, whatever that's called, the funny yellow thing. Take his word for it. You know what? Gerald's also entitled to his privacy. So it's not for me to interrogate him further. I must just take his word for it. He looks happy. He looks well. So that's feedback from Gerald. Some other feedback. Somebody said, I prefer it when you're funny. I don't like this. Oh, I don't like this topic. But Israel, Hamas, she avoids it. She avoids it. In fact, Gerald said the same thing. Gerald said, you know, this whole Israel, Hamas, Palestine, he says, I'm exhausted. He says, I'm exhausted. He says, I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it. And you know what? Neither can I. And you know what? I think you'll agree with me. I mustn't deal with it. It's not my thing. It's not my thing. Stay away from it. But then we had the genocide hearings at The Hague today. How can I avoid that? Look, I didn't sit there and analyze it, like word for word what happened, but generally the feedback I'm getting is that the South African delegation of lawyers, I saw about 4 or 5 of different lawyers, then maybe even 6, they brought out everybody. There was this Dugard, the one lawyer was 80 years old. Got some young guys. There was a woman. From what I can gather, they performed very well. They gave a good case. They delivered a good argument. I was a bit cynical because it's all about semantics. So something doesn't have to be genocide for it to be wrong. So for argument's sake, whatever Israel's doing in Gaza, you can say it's wrong. You can say maybe it's a war crime, maybe it's wrong, maybe it's ill-advised, maybe it's reckless, maybe it's callous, irresponsible, criminal. But is it genocide? Because according to the definition of genocide, I didn't think it was genocide because my impression, and what do I know? So just take this with a pinch of salt. Genocide is the calculated, industrial, well-planned operation to exterminate a grouping of people, an ethnicity, a religion, a tribe, like actual. If you look at the Holocaust in Europe during World War II, I mean, that was very carefully planned out. The Nazis built concentration camps. They wrote lists of people. They numbered the people. It was very well. It was extermination on an industrial, well-planned, organized scale. What happened in Rwanda, 1994? Almost the same thing. It was a concerted, well-planned effort to exterminate a group, a tribe of people. So then I thought, what's happening in Gaza, what's happening is terrible, it's not good, but I thought it doesn't qualify for the definition of genocide, which doesn't mean, but it's still, whatever's happening still isn't good. It's still horrific, it's bad. But then after today, some of these South African lawyers put up quite a good argument. They actually, I don't know whether their arguments were legally sound and legally astute, or was it more emotional, clever emotional language, or was it a bit of both? Because by other definitions of genocide is forced displacement of people. So that's where they made a very good point, because we can't deny the fact that these Gazans have been forcibly displaced. But having said that, the Israelis' argument will be no, They weren't forcibly displaced. In order to save lives, in order to avoid unnecessary casualties, we warned the Gazans to move out of the area. Go figure. So look, when I have a time later, I'll examine it more closely, the arguments, but it seems like these lawyers did a very good job in commenting on social media, and I was watching a bit of Al Jazeera, a bit of CNN earlier, and they delivered a good case. And one of the commentators was speaking and said this is actually has given South Africa a very good platform, a positive exposure for South Africa, and has shown South Africa in a good light in terms of humanitarian endeavors. South Africa's human rights standards have been highlighted again. You know, we've taken a knock, because of all the corruption. First, in the mid-90s, it was the crime. Then corruption, and then crime, then corruption. I don't know. I don't remember the order. But there you have it. Okay. What else was I looking? Oh, in the genocide discussion. Now, this is an interesting one, and this is very controversial. They also brought up that what's going on in this area of the world, Israel, Palestine, Gaza, West Bank, is apartheid. And again, semantics. You know, if you look, this is just what I think. I mean, you know, this is just my interpretation. And this is I'm just going on what I've heard and what I've read and what I've observed. When people use the word apartheid as a definition, they're looking at the South African case of apartheid. I don't think the term apartheid existed before South Africa's version of apartheid. So we have South Africa had a unique branding of apartheid. So as wrong, you may think what's happening, or historically what's happened is wrong, and it's unethical, and it's criminal, and against human rights violations. But by definition of apartheid, is it apartheid? Probably not. But that doesn't mean whatever's going on is so kosher. Just a little observation. So you look at a place like Gaza, 2.5 million people, only 14,000 had permits to go in and out Gaza in order to work in Israel. Hell, man, that's not apartheid. Gee whiz, the apartheid regime in South Africa, if they were in that situation, wow, they would have moved a lot more. Maybe they wouldn't have moved 2.5 million people to come into South Africa to work in the farms and God knows what. They wouldn't have just done 14,000. They would have built made big hostel. Wait, no, why schlep all the way to Gaza? Come stay on the farm. Come stay on the mine. Come stay on the kibbutz. We'll put you in a hostel, single-sex hostels. Yeah, and it'll be like what? 500,000. 500,000 that can come through a little. That's apartheid. Apartheid was a racist economic system. What the hell is Israel getting out of 14,000 Palestinians coming in and out of Gaza? That's not apartheid. That's like what's it? Mini apartheid or play apartheid. South Africa historically, they knew what to do with it. They knew apartheid. You know, that's my take on it. That's my interpretation. And what else? Just, this is not a movie review show. I just want to finish off just an interesting little tidbit. I might be too late. In fact, I'm worried I am too late. You got Netflix. You know, before, years ago, if I wanted to talk about something on Netflix, I would say, have you got Netflix? And I'd worry that whoever I'm talking to doesn't have it. But I'm sure most of you by now have Netflix. Because, I mean, it's more affordable. You got broadband, you got fiber, you got your Netflix. Warning. These 8-episode limited series, especially these British ones, rubbish. Waste of time. Don't do it. I saw it fool me once, which ironically, fool me once, but then I got fooled twice, so much for that expression. So that show's called Fool Me Once, the other one is called Safe. It's based on the same author, for both. Full of irrelevant subplots, just clumsy, just dragging on. They're like, you sit through 8 episodes, like episode 6, they suddenly introduce evidence and a character that is vital to the plot. I mean, They like found a pendant fell into the water of the swimming pool. That should have been brought up in episode 2 or episode 3. So many loose ends, so many red herrings. Started watching Yellow Jackets. Now, Yellow Jackets, I heard it's really good. Lovely. It's got Christina Ricci. It's got Julia Lewis from Natural Born Killers. Remember her? I'm on episode 5 now. Oh, it's fantastic. Fantastic. Actually, right now, while we speak, Bernice and I were watching, and then our niece, she couldn't stay up last night. She's now catching, while I'm recording this, she's catching up. Beautiful. I feel kind of bad. I feel sorry for my daughter and my niece. My niece, by the way, she's living with us now. It's like a foster situation. I was worried. She was 15, now she's 16. I was worried. Teenager, oh my God. She's going to go out drinking. There's going to be maybe drugs. Going partying. We don't know where she is. Is she safe? Is she alive? What a pleasure. WhatsApp. She sits on her WhatsApp talking to her friends. It's fantastic. She doesn't go out. She's in her bedroom. Fantastic. Highly recommended. You know, people talk about the dangers of social media and cyberbullying, and it's on WhatsApp. You know what? Yeah, that is a factor. You know what? She's on her WhatsApp. What a pleasure. And she's not going to grow out of it. I reckon, see how to stay, this beautiful WhatsApp. It's fantastic. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. So anyway, as I was saying, I kind of feel sorry for my kids. Especially the younger one, because you get back to school and the teacher says, tell me what you did over the holidays. And they either have to write a story, an essay, or they've got to stand in front of the class and give a talk. What did we do during the holidays? The Calvaries. We slept and watched TV. That's it. Slept and watched. I've never slept so much in all my life. And what's our added amazing other form of entertainment? I just came back. Let's go on a snack run. I put the kids in the car and we drive to the cafe at the garage, petrol station, and they buy some chocolates or a chip. That's the extent of the holiday. So I don't know. Maybe I should be one of these parents that I must maybe coach them or coach my daughter, the 11-year-old, and embroider a bit, make things up. Perhaps we've got to do that. Sure. You know, these people write books about parenting. I can tell you it's you can use it as guideline, but it's not. Anyway, I said I wasn't going to talk about Israel and God. I'm hoping I won't do this again. Just bear with me. I think I may have got it out of my system. And I'm actually quite confident it's out of my system.